Hello, good people. Welcome to the Justice Concert. I'm Cherry Oakley, and I want to share with you a little bit about how this all got started. But in order to do that, I need to share with you one little secret to life that I believe in. See, I believe that in life, things get revealed to us that help us to live into who we're called to be, not just as individuals, but as a collective humanity. And at first, they'll come to us in a whisper. And if we don't hear that, it'll get a little bit louder. And if we don't hear that, it'll keep coming back in louder and louder tones until there's a big, huge thunderclap and we can't do anything but sit up and listen. Now, the secret is to get it in a whisper. Because secrets are usually told in whispers. Okay, so fast forward to July 2020. I'm sitting in the front seat of my car, looking down at a stack of masks that I keep in my car in order to go about and just do regular everyday things like go into a store and buy a package of batteries or bread or something. And I'm thinking to myself, what did we miss? Like, what didn't we hear? What can't we hear? That it's something so significant and so big that we're now hearing this sonic boom of not one, but two pandemics. The pandemic of COVID-19 and the pandemic of 1619. I'm thinking, if we can't hear this message and it's this loud, like, can it even be heard? Like, is anybody going to be able to help us to get this message so that this will stop? This loud, thunderous clanging will stop. And so then on a radio comes this singer-songwriter who had just the most profound message that she had been writing about her experience of these two pandemics. And it clicks. Like, there's my whisper. You see, we had just, and I mean the Presbytery of New Brunswick, had just been gifted the service of an intern from the Pace Center for Civic Engagement. Her name is Delaney, who herself was a singer-songwriter and a senior in college trying to finish up her last year in this pandemic. And her presence at such a time as this, it made me realize that we actually need translators, and those translators are already amongst us. We needed translators to help us to hear what we need to be able to hear in like a universal language. A language that no matter what dialect, no matter what brogue, vocabulary, no matter what your native tongue, no matter what it is that you speak, that it can be understood. No matter who you are, no matter what you're doing. I happen to believe that there are 4 universal languages on our planet: math, pictures, music, and love. So, you see, like for centuries, artists and musicians, poets, photographers, they've all been humanity's translators of what's happening at that time, how it's impacting us, and potentially what we could do, even if it's just holding the space of hope. And so these folks, they can show us who we are, what we're doing, and how what we're doing either creates beauty or suffering. So I thought, well, what if the reason that we haven't been hearing is because although we're all having this collective traumatic experience, we're not all receiving what's coming out of it in the same language, let alone receiving all the same facts. So I started to wonder, what if we start there? What if we have a collective listening experience in a universal language about this time? So I mentioned I whispered to a couple people, and soon we're like three of us, we're working and excited, and then we're 9, and then we're 53 people, not just willing to come together and give what they can give, to make this happen, this space happen, but wanting to create this collective listening experience. No one got paid to do this. It just truly showed up with what they had to offer. So I am grateful for all of those people came together and used their time and their talent, their connections, their treasures to make this moment possible. So in this Justice concert, you are going to experience not just music. And our hope is that you'll leave this experience a little bit more in your head and your heart than you came with, and that you'll use that to hear your own whisper, for you to do whatever you can do, whether it's a little something or it's a great big something, but that you listen. So ladies and gentlemen, welcome and enjoy the Justice concert.
I can't breathe, but you're not listening. 8 and 46, 8 and 46. There's people screaming in a distance. 8 and 46, 8 and 46. What does it mean when I say that I can't breathe? While your rage is killing me, watch me die on live TV. 8 and 46, 8 and 46, 8 and 46, 8 and 46. 8 and 46. Here's a long, long time. The streets are screaming out for justice. 8 and 46, 8 and 46. A grown man crying for his mother. 8 and 46, 8 and 46. When I'm walking down these American streets, does your heart skip a beat? Tell me why, oh why are you afraid of me? 8 and 46, 8 and 46, 8 and 46, 8 and 46, 8 and 46 is a long, long time. 8 and 46, 8 and 46, 8 and 46, 8 and 46, 8 and 46. Here's a long, long time. 8 and 46, 8 and 46, 8 and 46, 8 and 46, 8 and 46. Here's a long, long time.
I have shed the blood of a prisoner, a father and slave in the land of the free, a son confined in the land of opportunity, a brother in prison in the land of prosperity, an uncle held captive and commercialized in the land of a democracy. Ignorance was my real crime. Trust in your system has been my real penalty. Where has thy gone justice? Where has thy gone morality? Where are you, God? Balance the scales held by a blindfold lady. An administration playing the roles of God's dust controlling my fate, and I am to be pacified and ossified so that you can mentally maneuver me with haste. While the scales remain unbalanced, the lady still wearing her blindfold, not able to see who the real criminals are. You, the ones who prospered from afar, capitalizing from my misery. I am your car notes. I am your house mortgage. I am your children's better education. I am your nutritious foods. I am your expensive clothing. While in this hell of your own creation, I've done seen my own wooden coffin into the earth downloading. In the meantime, my mother and my father would have gone to the essence. My children would have been raised without my presence. My brother and sister would hold on to our childhood memories and remembrance. And through my actions and my deeds, my kids, my nieces, and my nephews will forever remember me. Scars of imprisonment. I will always remember, and I will never forget how I am presently being dismembered for capitalistic purposes. How I went from being an independent thinking child to a teenager who was misunderstood to an adult who through alcohol, drugs, money, and gangs became a fool. And now the shackles and the chains of modern day slavery are attempting to take control over my independent thinking brain. Mommy said it will be as many times as difficult for me because of my Puerto Rican accent, because of my Caribeño ancestry, because of my love for the sun, because of my dislike and distaste for the artificial and the superficial ones, because of my black curly hair, because of my aboriginal chinky eyes, because of my independent thinking mind, because I'm neither white, because I'm neither black, because I'm neither inferior, because I am neither superior, because I'm spiritually cultural, being molded from the interior. She said, be mindful, my son, of a land that is not like our land, a land that loves not, a land that cares not, a land that compassions not. She said, stay away from the discrimination. Stay away from the racism. Stay away from the meaning which are meant to hurt and distract you. And if all fails, come home to my borinqueño bosom before you get caught up in their industrialized prison system where your humanity and your culture will be killed by a heartless system. Regresa a casa, mi hijo. Come home, my son.
For much of last April and May, we were told that nature was healing. What nature referred to specifically remained rather amorphous, but we saw images of Kashmiri goats reclaiming the empty Welsh streets of Llandudno during the United Kingdom's first national lockdown against the coronavirus pandemic. We saw people reporting images of dolphins and sharks in urban canals, and India's major cities recorded some of its best air quality in years as industrial production and travel came to a halt. Even the world coming to an absolute standstill has not been enough to knock humanity off its ecologically destructive and extractive course. We can't say that nature is healing when almost 2 million people globally have died of COVID-19, when, as Mathur suggests, there's a direct line of causality between the bluer sky that we are seeing and the deaths and mass suffering unleashed by a hastily imposed, ill-planned, and ultimately failed lockdown in India. Mathur wrote that the cleaner air that she was inhaling in big Indian cities is being paid with, quite literally, the blood of the poor. But I remember Brian saying that the question is not whether or not we'll save the earth. This rock will continue to revolve around the sun for millennia, until one day it is swallowed up by the sun in about 7.5 billion years. What eco-socialists like myself are fighting for isn't the fate of the planet, but the planet's ability to support life. And more than that, we are fighting for a quality of life for all people. What is climate catastrophe if not more than 500,000 people in Oregon, more than 10% of that state's population, fleeing wildfires this last September? What does climate catastrophe mean if not the 3,000 Puerto Ricans killed during and after Hurricane Maria, or the more than 1,800 deaths a decade and a half ago in Hurricane Katrina? As we think about George Floyd or Eric Garner or Elijah McClain's final words before they were murdered by police officers, we have to think also about how white supremacy and racially segregated neighborhoods are forms of climate apartheid as well. A 2017 Princeton study confirmed that higher rates of asthma in black communities has everything to do with the built environment of the United States, and New Jersey in particular. This state's industrial history, that study said, means many black residents live near pollution sources or close to highways that produce harmful soot. And housing in these areas is, on average, 7 years older than housing elsewhere. The environment is not something out there, a ticking time bomb 10 years off. The disaster is with us already, exported with toxic first world waste to poor countries in the global south. It is with us already in the construction of pipelines along sacred indigenous land. Nature is not going to heal on its own, nor would the resurrection of nature mean anything if it kept systems of racial apartheid and class domination intact. But we can fight mountaintop removal. We can combat tar sands pipelines on native land. We can support local farmers and sustainable agriculture. We can demand energy and waste solutions that protect black, immigrant, and working class neighborhoods, both here in New Jersey and in the global south. We can have environmental justice if we combat environmental racism, but we can't have environmentalism or racial justice alone, independently of the other.
Focused and strong, everybody belongs, we rise. will you? So why would you turn your back to me? Is it because I've shown to you I seem to walk on stranger roads? Could we strive today, looking for some way, searching for that place where we both can say that I see no reason, I really don't. Do you? To see us differently, so I won't. Will you? No, I see no reason, I really don't. Do you? To see us differently, so I won't. Will you? Will you?
Restore me, take over me, restore me, take over me, change me,
Tell me what good it does if you say you have faith and yet you do nothing. Can faith save you? You say to your black neighbor, go in peace, keep warm and eat your fill. Still they leave hungry, starved by your goodwill. So faith alone, if it has no works, is dead. So where's the hope? Where do we begin? Awash in a sea of our own complicity. Lord, forgive me, for I've refused to see. Give me the strength to swim, 'cause my faith alone is dead. The more I learn, the more it hurts to see the vicious cycle of stripped humanity, a portrait of the nation in chiaroscuro, and still the truth without action's dead. So what do we do with what we know? We fight against the wave and multiply our numbers, 'cause there's hope in what we do together. Where two or more gather, the Spirit moves. So we'll learn to do good by God's will. We'll seek justice, rescue the oppressed, defend the orphan and plead the widow's case. 'Cause we serve a God whose love knows no bounds. Praise be, Amen.
What I thought I knew, I didn't. How do I hold myself personally accountable? How do I hold myself? How do I stand in the gap? How do I reconcile? I wanted to avoid. But how do I live my life? Knowing what I know now. How do I respond to what I know now? The ground keeps shifting. How have I taken advantage? How do I take advantage of this pause? Of the systems that are inherently exclusionary? No way. We are done being stretched. How do I hold the space? The space is heartbreak. How do I?
Hi everyone, my name is Nyla Flamer and I'm 13 years old. I live in Trenton, New Jersey and hope to be a professional photographer one day. I also am a lover of social justice and have been working on a project interviewing people in my faith community about social justice. I would like you to meet my godmother, Pat Deeney, who has been helping me with this project. I want you to meet her because she has chosen to be an anti-racist, and I want to talk to her for a few minutes about her choice and how she works at doing that.
I've been actively involved in anti-racism for over 20 years. I've come to the conclusion to sustain any kind of activity in this social justice area that for me, anti-racism has become a daily spiritual practice. And that has helped to sustain me in, well, now I'm 72. So in wanting to continue to be an intentional anti-racism advocate, basically until I die. So that's my focus for the rest of my life.
I have known you all my life, and you have always been loving to me, taking good care of me, and taught me things. I never thought of you as a racist. Did you ever think of yourself as a racist or doing racist things?
From my perspective, being a white person growing up in the United States, it's impossible not to be basically swimming in a sea of racism and racist behaviors and perspectives. Basically swimming in a sea of racism and racist behaviors and perspectives. So even though I was unaware of my unconscious racist behaviors, it has been imperative that I make those unconscious assumptions conscious so that I can change them and become aware of them.
The word racist often is very, very upsetting to people, and no one wants to be known as a racist. How can they stop being racist if they don't even know what they're doing, if they're doing racist things?
I think it's important for white people to get past being defensive about being labeled a racist and to recognize that because of the images we were exposed to growing up, that all of that is within our unconscious. So it was important to start with looking at oneself and seeing how race has played out in your life. Rather than thinking about arguing why you are not a racist, to put that energy into actively pursuing policies, procedures that are focused on racial equity in all areas of our social interactions.
You are the author of our Presbytery's Anti-Racist Adjustment. What is that?
It's actually a one-page, I try and keep it a one-page posting that helps people look at anti-racism as a spiritual practice.
Do you have an example of an adjustment you can share with me right now?
Yes, I certainly do.
We learned from Verna Meyer's TEDx talk, highlighted in the Presbyterian Mission Agency's 21-day Racial Justice Challenge, that the social science tells us we all have what's called implicit bias. All of us. The research indicates that 70% of white people and 50% of black people prefer white and automatically associate black with negative. What do we do with that? We work to change it. That's what we do. We have the ability to retrain our brain's automatic associations about those we implicitly feel connected to and who we implicitly feel like moving away from. First, we can stop working to not see each other's color. Avoid working to be colorblind. We need to honor who we each are. Otherwise, we can overlook how someone's race is changing their possibilities, and we have seen that doing that can be deadly. We can also work to disassociate black with negative. One way we can do that is this week's anti-racist adjustment. Start by studying and memorizing the faces of black people who have done good things, regularly committing to memory what Verna calls disconfirming data that proves that your old stereotypes were wrong. Where can you find these black faces to memorize? We recognize that staring at strangers on the street isn't socially appropriate. At the Presbytery of New Brunswick's YouTube channel, there are slideshows featuring people who invite you to see them for the wonderful people they are, and to use their image to change your automatic associations. Recommended practice? Select one slideshow to view. As you memorize the face, repeat out loud what you see on the screen until the next face appears. Repeat daily for 30 days. Unlimited refills.
That was a really good answer. Thank you for spending time with me, and I love you so much.
Okay, love you, hon.
We are strong. Shoulder we to shoulder, strong. Move on to shoulder, move on. Make a new plan.
Resilience. We are strong. Shoulder to shoulder, keep moving on. Resilience. Make a new plan. Stand up again and say, yes, we can. Resilience. We are strong. Shoulder to shoulder, keep moving on. Resilience. Make a new plan. Stand up again and say, yes, we can. Oh, oh, we are strong. Hold on. I want to make it and I know we will. Yes, it's hard to keep going, but it's worse to stand still. Resilience. We are strong. Shoulder to shoulder, keep moving on. Resilience. Make a new plan. Stand up again and say, yes, we can. Resilience. We are strong. Shoulder to shoulder, keep moving on. Resilience.
ultimate measure of man is not where he stands in the moments of comfort and convenience,
but where he stands at the times of challenge and controversy.
Don't judge me by my color. I don't judge you by your color. It's deeper.
Hi, my name's Mackenzie, and I live here in Newport, New Jersey. It's part of Jersey City, or right on the waterfront, and sometimes I feel like we are in this little bubble. Everything is happening around us, but not within us. And I thought it was really important, especially with me having a 5-year-old daughter who's asking about the rallies and asking about what I Can't Breathe means. What does Black Lives Matter?
Hey, Jazara, what are you doing?
I'm doing Black Lives Matter.
All of those things that any child will ask because they see it on the news, they see it popping up on your telephone when you're going through Twitter or Instagram. And I thought it was really, really important to put something together for kids to be able to be involved in and to also support the movement. This is a very pivotal moment in our history, everyone's history. I cried a few days ago when I saw videos of rallies happening not just here in America, but all over the world, supporting this movement of equality, the no justice, no peace. And it's so important that we teach our kids this very young. Now, we've kind of written on the ground all these amazing statements. Some kids have written, be brave. Some kids have written, be respectful. Some kids have written, Black Lives Matter. It's so important, and we did it right here in this space because it's open. This is where we all walk through to get to the supermarket, where we all walk through to get to the park, and we play here, as you can imagine. And with COVID-19 and everyone with their mask on, it's something that we must do, and we must educate our kids. And so I thought this would be something to do that parents would love to take part in and help them explain to their kids what's going on, you know? So right behind me is no justice, no peace. I had a security guard come up to me, and a lot of people were watching, wondering what was going to happen. And the security guard came up to me and she said to me, thank you. Thank you for doing this. I have a little son, and I have to pray every day, hoping that nothing will happen.
I have a real dream now. Yes, I have a real dream now. It's diversity, and it's primary. Don't judge me by my color. I don't judge you by your color. It's diversity. Resilience. We are strong. Resilience. Resilience. We are strong. Shoulder to shoulder, keep moving on. Resilience. Make a new plan. Stand up again and say, yes, we can. Resilience. We are strong. Shoulder to shoulder, keep moving on. Resilience. Make a new plan. Stand up again and say, yes, we can. Resilience. We are strong. Shoulder to shoulder, keep moving on. Resilience. Make a new plan. Stand up again and say, yes, we can. Resilience. We are strong. Shoulder to shoulder, keep moving on. Resilience. Make a new plan. Stand up again and say, yes, we can. Resilience.
I think one of the most important and effective factors of the Black Lives Matter movement is their brave and unapologetic stance against oppression in this country. They continue to make people aware that racism is still very much alive in this country, and that for 400 years, Black bodies have not been valued the same way white bodies have been. They are not treated with the same dignity and respect the way white bodies are. That racism is indeed part of our culture, and that because of that, oppression still exists and racism is still very much alive. Hi, my name is Sarah Vasquez. I'm a national speaker, author, and an advocate for the community that experiences disabilities. I've been a professional speaker for over 13 years. Some may say that I'm the walking, breathing, talking representation of intersectionality. I represent many oppressed groups. I'm a woman, I'm Puerto Rican. I grew up poor and in the inner city of Newark, New Jersey, and I experienced a disability. My professional speaking career has taken me all over this country, and it's very typical for me to share the intersectionalities of my life with my audiences. In one of my events, a woman who happened to be white came up to me and questioned if my parents were both Puerto Rican and how long I had actually lived in Newark, New Jersey. I instantly felt that she was questioning the validity and the wholeness of my background. She was confused. I could tell by her tone. I could tell she was trying to compute how the intersectionalities that my life represents didn't keep me oppressed, all the while probably maintaining the stereotypes that she thought of that my life should represent as well. I calmly but proudly said, yes, both my parents are Puerto Rican. She responded with a simple, oh. She shook my hand, told me that she enjoyed my talk, and walked away. It was a short exchange, but a memory that has stayed with me to this day, because I wonder how many more people had questioned the wholeness of my story. I shouldn't have to carry that question with me. I should be able to tell my story and be believed for it, be valued for it, and be understood for it. I should not be seen as exceptional either. I should be seen as a human being with lived experiences, just like the Black Lives Matter activists. And perhaps when that can be the experience of the Black Lives Matter activists, when they could be understood and valued as contributors to this country, they could put down their signs and be seen for valuable people. Thank you.
Oh, come, all ye faithful, all who care for justice. Oh, look ye at Bethlehem. Come and behold it under occupation. Oh, come, let's not ignore it. Oh, come, let's not ignore it. Oh, come, let's not ignore it. Tell the world. Sing, O ye people, sing in indignation. Be with the citizens of Bethlehem. Sing out for justice, freedom from oppression. Oh, come, let's not ignore it. Oh, come, let's not ignore it. Oh, come, let's not ignore it. Tell the world.
Remember the meaningless arguments that we had just a few years ago about this picture of a dress? Some people looked at the picture and insisted that it was gold, but others looked at the dress and argued that it was blue. Well, on TikTok, there's a whole bunch of videos that you can watch that offer up another example of how people perceive things differently. In this video, most people, not all people, but most people, only hear the word that they're reading. So if you are reading the words green needle, well, those are the words that you hear spoken out loud. But if you're reading the word brainstorm, then that's the word that you hear. I have watched this video about a dozen times. It's just kind of amazing to me that our perception of what we're hearing can shift so radically based on what we're seeing. There's a name for this. It's called the Mcgirk Effect. It turns out the visual information a person gets from seeing someone speak changes the way that they hear sound. Conditions need to be just right. The Mcgirk Effect is way more likely to happen when there's a great quality to what you're seeing, but a poor quality in the audio that you're hearing. The Mcgirk Effect means that we effectively see and hear the words that we choose to pay attention to, usually enabled by a lack of equity within what there is to perceive in the first place. I think this dynamic, this phenomenon of hearing the words that we make the choice to focus our eyes upon is more prevalent than we realize. And for this video segment, when I say we, I really mean prevalent for those of us who get to function under the construct of being white. And particularly those same people who, like me, would identify as progressive Christians. There are some words we read or hear, and there is within us a near instant emotional response that triggers a compulsive reaction to either not hear them, distort them, or avert our eyes in search of a different one. Take this word, for example. reparations. If you just went by its definition, it's a word that can mean actions taken to make amends, offering expiation, or giving satisfaction for a wrong or an injury. And it's a word rightly being shared now as a matter of justice, particularly for people of African descent. The people on whose backs our country, its economics, and opportunities to pursue the American dream were built. First through the kidnap and enslavement of our siblings of color, and then after slavery with sanctioned violence, policy and practices that were designed to ensure that people of color didn't have the opportunity to pursue all that we hold as exceptional about America. I think that white Christian progressives understand reparations to the people of African descent as a social justice issue. We all well know that there are white people who don't or won't be woken to the truth. Right now, though, I'm looking to speak to the progressives among us and asking for a reckoning. Because I believe when we hear the word reparations, it's filtered through an emotional response that makes us hear it like this. It feels huge. In the TikTok video I showed, you got to experience how when there's a disparity between what we perceive, we only hear the word we choose to focus our eyes on. It has a name. It's the Mcgirk Effect. There's a name for the perceptional phenomenon that allows us to push aside or disregard or stop listening when the topic of reparations is raised. Its name is privilege. Privilege that even with the best intentions, we can opt in or out. The blanket of privilege covers even those who are engaged or invested in anti-racism training, who feel sorrow or guilt over the sin of slavery, because at the end of the day, it's those of us who function as white people that continue to benefit from what those who are of African descent have by their labor and forced sacrifice built. Privilege enables the vehicle of disparity that distorts the sound of the word reparations and reduces it to this. Progressive Christians, we long to be repairers of the breach that Isaiah speaks of. But the breach cannot be repaired by continuing to marvel at how big it is, or by thinking that our sorrow, our tears, or even the apologies that might be made are enough. All of those things are important, but those alone are like trying to build something without glue or nails. Reparations are a path to restorative justice.
night and my day. I was blind, Lord, and I couldn't see my way. And for every time I whispered your name, and you were there, Lord, even through my storm and my rain. Now, Lord, you've been good and so very kind. The world couldn't give me all of the joy I feel inside. No, no, your mercy and your grace are sufficient for me. Lord, I'll serve you, I'll lift you up over and over again. Forevermore I will bless your name at all times. Said I'm gonna give you all the praise, for you have been kind. I will bless your name always. Lord, I'll praise your holy name. Lord, I count on you for all my life. Every breath I take and every liberating step that I make. See, you are the source of all my strength, and I acknowledge you, yes, in all of my ways. Now I'm giving up to you all of my praise, oh, and I'm looking up to you for so much grace, oh, and Lord, I'm loving you with every beat of my heart. You're my justice, my hope, you're my peace, you're my love, you're my song all the day long, everywhere I go. And I said I will, yeah, for you have been kind. I will bless your name. Thank you, Lord, always. Lord, I'll praise your holy, righteous name. Here's another thing, Lord, for every time you ever made a way, and for every time I heard your sweet voice say, oh yes, you're my child, and I'll give you rest. I've got everything you'll ever need. Oh yes, indeed. Everywhere I go. Said I will. Oh, red, brown, yellow, black, and white, all the precious inside. Bless your name every day, every step of the way. I will. Yeah, you're worthy of the glory, Lord. Bless your name at all times. Lord, I'll praise your holy name every day, every step of the way. I praise your praise shall forever be in my mouth. Lord, I'll praise your name.
Hello, My name is Mike Medewski. I am an elder at First Presbyterian Church of Hamilton Square, New Jersey, and I have been honored to serve as coordinator for the Presbytery of New Brunswick's Justice Concert, which you have just watched. A big heartfelt thank you to Elder Cherry Oakley, our Presbytery moderator, whose vision inspired this concert, and to the many pastors, individuals, organizations, musicians, artists, and justice activists who came together to make Justice Concert a reality. This concert is one way our presbytery is living out the words of Matthew 25, which can be summarized as working to dismantle structural racism and eradicate systemic poverty through vital worship communities. We hope you will carry forward the message of social justice as you go about your daily personal and professional lives. We also ask if you would consider the opportunity to contribute a donation to the Poor People's Campaign. Please stay tuned for the last few minutes of the concert with the closing credits. Thank you and God bless.
I hope you enjoyed our time together and all that the artist had to share. We want to finish this event with one last song, and we've got some special guest singers that'll be joining us for one final chorus of Resilience. I know you're probably wondering, who are they? They're you. Please follow along as the words appear on your screen.
Resilience, we are strong, shoulder to shoulder, keep moving on. Resilience, make a new plan, stand up again and say yes we can. Resilience, we are strong, shoulder to shoulder, keep moving on. Resilience, make a new plan, stand up again and say yes we can. Resilience, we are strong, shoulder to shoulder, keep moving on. Resilience, I wanna make a new plan, stand up again and say yes we can. Resilience, we are strong, shoulder to shoulder, keep moving on. Resilience, I wanna make a new plan, stand up again and say yes we can. Resilience.
Satan, we're gonna tear your kingdom down. Satan, we're gonna tear your kingdom down. You've been building your kingdom all over this land. Satan, we're gonna tear your kingdom down. Hallelujah, the pastors are gonna preach your kingdom down. The pastors are gonna preach your kingdom down, 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 down. You've been building your kingdom all over this land. Satan, we're gonna tear your kingdom down. Demons are gonna pray your kingdom down. Yes, demons are gonna pray your kingdom down, 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 down. 'Cause you've been building your kingdom all over this land. Satan, we're gonna tear your kingdom down. The rabbis are gonna teach your kingdom down, 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 down. The rabbis are gonna teach your kingdom down. 'Cause you've been building your kingdom all over this land. Satan, we're gonna tear your kingdom down. Believers are gonna break your kingdom down. Oh, believers are gonna break your kingdom down, 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 down. You've been building that kingdom all over this land. Satan, we're gonna tear your kingdom down. Satan, we're gonna tear your kingdom down, 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 down. Oh, Satan, 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 we're gonna tear your kingdom down. Satan, we're gonna tear your kingdom down. Satan, we're gonna tear the kingdom down.